Thanks for staying with us. I'm Bill O'Reilly in a Weekdays with Bernie segment tonight. Let's bring in the purveyor of BernardGoldberg.com, who joins us from Miami. So I hope there's no violence. I hope that the authorities of Missouri will get the crazy people out there and the anarchists under control very quickly. But there was an article or an opinion piece that said some networks actually are rooting for violence because it raises their ratings and it shows America as this unjust country, and all the pictures of the looting and all that go out all over the world, and it gives us a black eye. Do you think that's even possible?
I think the term rooting for violence is a bit harsh and really uncalled for. I do think that news organizations, especially cable news organizations, appeal to their particular audiences. They give them what they want. They cater to their tastes because that's good for business. So to the extent that that article has a hint of unfortunate truth attached to it, I think it would be because a lot of liberals in America think a grave injustice was done. They think an innocent black kid was shot by a racist white cop. The facts are irrelevant. They've already reached a verdict. So there are going to be places that emphasize that angle. I don't have a problem with emphasizing the angle of activists who think that an injustice was done. I have a problem when journalists don't challenge that person. There was one, I understand that MSNBC is a footnote in all of this, but there was a person on MSNBC who pretty much said that black kids are a fair game in America these days, something we've heard too many times already. Right. If she wants to say that, that's one thing. But the host sat there like a potted plant, like a mime. You have to challenge statements like that.
A news organization would do that. I was disappointed to see Congressman John Lewis, who was a real hero in the civil rights that people know the Congress's background, come out and say the officer Wilson is guilty. That's what he flat out said. He's guilty. And when I saw that, Lewis didn't say that in so many words, but he said if he isn't indicted, all right, if Wilson isn't prosecuted, then it'll be a terrible miscarriage of justice, which is basically saying he's guilty. Because if the evidence comes out that the officer defended himself, that there was enough evidence, that physical evidence to show that Mr. Brown attacked the officer and all the things that are needed for self-defense proposal, and you have a sitting congressman who has a lot of sway in the African-American precinct saying, you know what?
Yeah.
He's guilty. And that kind of thing, that's not going to be challenged by the liberal press. They're not going to challenge Congressman Lewis.
Right. I knew John Lewis in the old days, and I am not ashamed to say that in the old days he was one of the great Americans that we had. He was truly a great American. But statements like that by such an important person, somebody that you rightly say has clout in African-American precincts, that can't do anybody any good, because what it's saying is the very definition of justice is A, an indictment, B, a trial, and C, a conviction. Anything less is injustice. That's a dangerous game to play.
And our system doesn't work. Our grand jury system doesn't work, and it was in the bag and all of that, because that's what you're going to hear. Finally, these anarchists and these new Black Panthers and these people, they get it from Fox News, and they get it from conservative media, but the liberal media doesn't come down on them. They're not pariahs in those areas.
Bill, the other day we talked about the absence of media attention to Jonathan Gruber. Let me apply what I think about that to your question. They have gone way, way beyond bias. They have gone beyond activism. They are into corruption. That's how bad it is. They'll let activists make outrageous statements that are designed in some cases to provoke violence, and then they sit there like Marcel Marceau with no challenge.
Right, no challenge at all.
They're just like mimes. That's not what journalism is supposed to be about.
Bernie Goldberg, everybody. Is it legal on deck? Shocking case in